Shocking truth revealed when a royal guard risked everything to save Princess Charlotte from a deadly crash caused by Camilla's reckless son. What happened next shook the entire royal family to its core. Secrets, betrayal, and courage collide in this unbelievable true story. Stay till the end to discover the moment that changed everything. If you want more stories like this video, and subscribe to our channel now. The late afternoon sun stretched long shadows across Windsor's east lawn. The crisp autumn breeze stirred the leaves, sending soft whispers through the trimmed hedges and low stone walls that lined the private grounds. Princess Charlotte walked quietly, her steps measured and unhurried. She carried a folder clutched close to her chest, the papers inside filled with notes from her school day. Her wool scarf fluttered gently as the wind caught its loose end. No cameras followed her. No crowds gathered to watch her every move. It was just her walking the path between her small private school and the royal residence. The school itself was tucked deep within the estate, designed for her education but shielded from the public eye. This was a rare moment of normalcy for a young girl born into the glare of the public spotlight, 10 steps behind her. Sergeant Elias Rock walked with practiced vigilance. Elias was no ordinary guard. At 35 years old, he had served in far more dangerous places than a royal estate. His sharp eyes, hardened by years of deployment, scanned every detail of their surroundings without hesitation. His cold, disciplined demeanor was reflected in the rigid line of his hat and the scar tracing across his right jawline, hidden beneath the brim. He did not smile. His duty was simple: protect the princess at all costs. Charlotte, oblivious to the watchful gaze behind her, enjoyed the quiet. Her boots clicked softly over the flagstones as she walked, the sound mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves. It was a moment of peace. It's fragile and fleeting, but peace shattered in an instant. From the bend of the road ahead, a blacked-out luxury car came roaring into view. Its engine growled like a wild beast unleashed, tires scraping the pavement with dangerous speed. The car swerved recklessly, its driver laughing loudly, shouting obscenities into the fading light. The scent of alcohol hung heavily on the air. This was no ordinary driver. It was Camilla's son, a young man known for his recklessness and disregard for rules. Elias saw the danger before anyone else. He did not hesitate. Without waiting for orders, he sprinted forward, his boots pounding the stone path with urgency. His body moved with the speed and strength of a soldier trained for moments like this. He reached Charlotte just as the car hurtled toward her. In one powerful motion, Elias slammed into the princess, pulling her behind his broad frame. The luxury car screeched, unable to stop in time, and crashed violently into a nearby stone post. The post shattered into jagged pieces, just inches from where Charlotte had stood moments before. The princess sobbed silently on the gravel, overwhelmed by shock and fear. Her small hands trembled as she clutched her folder tightly. Elias held her firmly, shielding her from any further harm. Yet, as the chaos unfolded, Camilla's reaction was not what anyone expected. Instead of rushing to comfort the frightened child, she ran toward her son. Her voice was sharp, defensive. She blamed Elias for the incident, calling his actions theatrical and claiming he had frightened Charlotte more than the car ever could. Her words cut through the quiet estate like a knife, sowing confusion and tension. But this was not the end of the story, because Prince William arrived moments later. His eyes took in the scene, the trembling princess, the defiant young man still laughing despite the crash, and the loyal guard standing resolute beside his charge. What William saw that day would change everything. He made a decision, one that fractured the royal household and sent ripples through the palace walls. Loyalty was no longer quiet that afternoon. It hit the gravel in red. Behind the scenes of duty, Elias Rock was not a man to seek the spotlight. His life had been one of discipline, sacrifice, and unwavering loyalty. Born into a modest family, he had risen through the ranks of the Coldstream Guards by sheer grit and determination. His scar was a badge of honor, a reminder of a past mission where he had faced danger head-on to protect his comrades. He had trained for moments like this, when seconds separated life from tragedy. And today, he had been ready. For him, the royal family was more than just figures on a throne. They were his responsibility, his charge. And Princess Charlotte, with her innocent smile and youthful curiosity, was someone he had vowed to keep safe. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across Windsor's grounds, Elias knew this incident would not be forgotten. It was a test of character, of courage, and of the true meaning of loyalty. What happens next? This is only the beginning. The crash would lead to a reckoning, not just for the young man behind the wheel, but for the entire royal household. Questions of responsibility, protection, and justice would come to the forefront. But most of all, it would reveal the strength of a man who stood between danger and innocence. A man who refused to back down. The moments following the crash were thick with tension. The shattered stone post lay scattered across the gravel, sharp fragments catching the last light of day. Princess Charlotte remained close to Sergeant Elias Rock, her small frame trembling but safe. His presence was a shield, a promise of protection. Yet, the atmosphere did not calm. Camilla's son, still breathless from the reckless drive, wiped a smudge of dirt from his cheek and straightened his jacket. He wore a twisted grin, the kind that suggested defiance rather than remorse. Laughter bubbled from his lips again, loud, careless, as if nothing had happened. Camilla herself was visibly shaken, but her focus was not on the princess. Instead, her voice rose sharply, accusing Elias. She insisted he had overreacted, called his actions theatrical, and claimed the guard had frightened Charlotte more than the car ever could. Her words seemed designed to protect her son rather than acknowledge the danger. The gathering crowd of aides and servants watched in silence, uncertainty flickering across their faces. The royal household had always maintained an image of decorum and calm, but today was different. Today, that fragile balance was breaking. Prince William arrived swiftly, his tall figure cutting through the tension. His gaze was steady, sharp, and filled with quiet authority. He took in the scene, the broken post, the sobbing princess. The man who had placed himself between danger and child, and the young man who had treated the moment like a game. William's decision was immediate, and it was clear to all who watched. He turned to Camilla's son with a voice firm and unwavering. "This behavior is unacceptable," said. "No one is above the rules, not even family." The young man's laughter died away. The weight of the prince's words settled heavily over the group. Camilla's face flushed with anger, but she said nothing. The royal household knew that William's word was final. No amount of pleading could change his mind. Loyalty tested. Boundaries redefined. Sergeant Elias Rock stood silently beside the princess, his expression unreadable. For years, he had served the royal family with unwavering dedication, but today was different. Today, loyalty meant more than quiet obedience. Demanded courage to face difficult truths. Elias understood the complexities behind the scenes. Camilla's son was a member of the royal family, and his actions reflected not just on himself, but on the entire institution. But no bloodline could excuse recklessness or endangerment. The moment Prince William called out the behavior, he shattered an unspoken rule, one that protected family members even when they crossed lines. That evening, behind closed doors, conversations grew heated. Some defended the young man, pleading for mercy and understanding. Others stood with Elias, praising his swift action and commitment to duty. William's decision rippled through the household, causing fractures that would not easily mend. A child's silent courage. Meanwhile, Princess Charlotte remained quiet. The trauma of the crash weighed heavily, but her spirit showed resilience beyond her years. She clung to Elias, her eyes wide but steady. The guard's presence was a source of comfort, a reminder that someone stood firmly by her side, ready to protect no matter the cost. No words were needed between them. The bond of trust had been forged in an instant, under pressure few could imagine. The public remains unaware outside the estate. The world remained unaware of the incident unfolding behind Windsor's gates. There were no flashing cameras or sensational headlines. Only whispers in the halls and guarded conversations among those who served the royal family. The balance between privacy and public image was delicate. To many, the royal family appeared flawless, a symbol of tradition and grace. But beneath the surface, real struggles and human moments shaped their lives. Today's crash was a stark reminder that even in the most protected circles, danger could find its way. What comes next? The story was far from over. Prince William's decision marked the beginning of a deeper reckoning. Questions of responsibility and protection would surface. The royal guard's loyalty would be tested in ways Elias had never imagined. For Princess Charlotte, it was a moment that would shape her understanding of courage and safety. For Camilla's son, it was a wake-up call with consequences yet to unfold. The night fell quietly over Windsor. But inside the walls of the royal household, unrest simmered beneath the surface. The day's events refused to fade into silence. The crash, the accusations, the unwavering loyalty of Sergeant Elias Rock all stirred emotions that few dared to speak aloud. Prince William's decision echoed through the corridors. It was clear no one, regardless of lineage, could escape the consequences of reckless actions. Yet this principle came at a cost. Behind closed doors, tensions rose. Camilla struggled to balance her role as a mother with her place within the royal family. She wanted to protect her son, to shield him from criticism. But the reality was undeniable. Her son's behavior had put a child in danger, and the guard had risked everything to stop it. The household staff found themselves caught in the middle, torn between loyalty to the family and respect for the law. The guard's burden, Elias Rock, sat alone in his quarters, the weight of the day pressing heavily on his shoulders. He had acted without hesitation, driven by duty and a profound sense of responsibility. But now, doubts crept in. Would the royal family stand behind him fully? Or would he become a scapegoat for inconvenient truths? His scar, a reminder of past battles, seemed to burn with renewed intensity. He was no stranger to danger, but this was different. This was a battle fought within walls of tradition and expectation. Yet, despite the uncertainty, Elias knew one thing clearly. Protecting Princess Charlotte was his mission, his honor. Princess Charlotte's quiet strength, meanwhile, the young princess struggled to understand what had happened. The crash, the shouting, the anger, it was a confusing world for a child accustomed to kindness and order. But in the days that followed, Charlotte began to show a quiet strength. She resumed her studies, her laughter slowly returning, yet her bond with Elias deepened, an unspoken understanding growing between them. The guard became more than a protector. He was a steady presence in a world suddenly filled with unpredictable shadows. A family fractured. The royal family's unity showed signs of strain. Camilla's son faced the harsh reality of his actions. And while some offered forgiveness, others demanded accountability. Conversations grew tense. Loyalties were questioned. The incident exposed cracks beneath the polished surface, revealing the complex interplay of power, responsibility, and love. Prince William, steadfast in his resolve, worked to restore order. His message was clear: the safety of the family, especially its youngest members, must come before all else. The public eye awaits, though. The incident remained private for now. The ripple effects were inevitable. Whispers of the crash and its aftermath would soon find their way beyond Windsor's walls. The royal family prepared for scrutiny, knowing that their handling of the situation would shape public perception. For Elias, the princess, and the household, the days ahead would be challenging. Yet, through it all, the core of loyalty and courage held firm. What lies ahead? This story is not just about an accident or a reprimand. It is about courage in the face of danger, the complexity of family, and the unwavering commitment to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The morning sun cast a pale light over Windsor as the royal household stirred with a mix of apprehension and resolve. The events of the previous day were no longer whispers behind closed doors. They had become a reality everyone had to face. Camilla's son, once careless and defiant, now confronted the consequences of his actions. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him in ways he had never anticipated. The reckless joy that had marked his drive was replaced by a heavy silence. Prince William's words echoed clearly in the halls. No one is above the rules. Facing the truth, the young man was summoned for a private meeting with William. There were no angry outbursts or dramatic accusations, only a firm and honest conversation about accountability and respect. "You endangered a child," William said, voice steady. "That is unacceptable. We all must answer for our choices." The message was clear. Protection of the vulnerable was not a matter of privilege, but of duty. This was a lesson hard-learned but essential, a step toward redemption. Camilla. Son agreed to take steps to address his behavior. He would face restrictions, undergo guidance, and demonstrate his commitment to change. The royal family stood united in their resolve to uphold principles above personal ties. Forgiveness was possible, but only with sincere effort and respect for the safety of others. The guard's quiet victory for Sergeant Elias Rock. This moment marked a quiet victory. His swift action had prevented tragedy. His loyalty and courage had stood firm even when questioned. The royal household formally recognized Elias's bravery. He was commended not only for his quick response, but for embodying the true spirit of service and protection. Yet Elias remained humble. His reward was knowing Princess Charlotte was safe. Princess Charlotte's growth. Charlotte herself continued to show remarkable resilience. She returned to her studies with renewed confidence. The incident had taught her lessons about trust, bravery, and the importance of those who protect her. Her bond with Elias grew stronger, symbol of mutual respect and quiet strength, healing and moving forward. The royal household began to heal from the strain of the incident. Open conversations about responsibility and care became more common. Camilla also reflected deeply, recognizing the importance of putting the well-being of the family above all else. What's next? This story is far from over. The coming days will test the family's unity and reveal the true power of forgiveness and growth. Days turned into weeks, and the echoes of that dangerous afternoon continued to shape life within Windsor's walls. The royal household was slowly finding its footing, but the lessons learned remained vivid, carved into the hearts of those involved. For Sergeant Elias Rock, loyalty meant more than performing his duties. It meant standing firm, even when faced with challenges that went beyond protocol and expectation. A new threat emerges one crisp morning. As Princess Charlotte prepared to leave for school once again, a new threat surfaced. Rumors began circulating about an unknown figure seen near the estate, someone who did not belong. Elias's sharp instincts kicked in. His eyes scanned the grounds with renewed intensity. Protection was never just about reacting. It was about anticipating danger before it arrived. The unseen danger. The royal family had always been a target for those who sought to disrupt tradition or make a statement. But this time the threat felt different, calculated, silent, and close. Elias coordinated with security teams, tightening patrols and reviewing every entry point. His experience in the field became invaluable, guiding the household through uncertainty. Princess Charlotte's trust. Despite the tension, Charlotte showed remarkable calm. Her trust in Elias was unwavering. She knew he would stand between her and any danger, no matter the cost. Their relationship was no longer just protector and charge. It had grown into something deeper: trust, forged in the fire of adversity. Camilla's son faces reflection. Meanwhile, Camilla's son continued on his path of reflection and change. The incident that had once seemed like a reckless mistake was now a turning point in his life. He began to understand the meaning of responsibility, not just for himself, but for those around him. His efforts to make amends were sincere, and slowly, respect from the household was earned. The power of unity. Prince William emphasized the importance of unity and vigilance. The royal household came together with renewed purpose. Recognizing that loyalty was a collective strength, they learned that protection was not the job of one person alone, but a shared commitment, each individual playing a vital role, preparing for what lies ahead. The days passed. The unknown threat remained a shadow in the background. The household braced itself for what might come. Knowing that courage and loyalty would be tested once again, Elias remained ever watchful, ready to act the moment danger approached. What will happen next? This chapter of the story shows that loyalty goes beyond duty. It is a living force that binds people in times of trial. The days that followed were tense, but the royal household stood united. The unknown threat never revealed itself openly, yet its presence was felt in every careful glance and tightened security measure. For Sergeant Elias Rock, his vigilance was not a burden, it was a solemn promise to protect Princess Charlotte and all who called. Windsor home, a moment of crisis one late afternoon. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, the warning became real. A suspicious figure was spotted near the estate's perimeter. Security teams moved swiftly, and Elias took the lead. His years of training came alive in every step he took. The unknown figure attempted to slip past the guards, but Elias intercepted with calm authority. The situation was diffused without violence, but it was a clear reminder: danger could come when least expected. Courage in the face of fear. Princess Charlotte, safe inside the residence, understood more than ever the importance of the guard who stood beside her. Elias's courage was a beacon in uncertain times. His quiet strength reminded everyone that true loyalty does not waver when tested. The royal family's trust in him deepened. He was more than a protector, he was a guardian of their peace, forgiveness, and growth. Meanwhile, Camilla's son continued to rebuild his life with humility and sincerity. The incident that had once cast a shadow now became a turning point toward growth. He publicly acknowledged his mistakes, working to regain trust, not through words alone, but through actions. The royal household recognized his efforts, testament to the power of accountability and change, the power of kindness and perseverance. This story is not just about a guard and a princess. It is about the resilience of the human spirit, the power of kindness, and the courage to stand up when it matters most. Each person involved showed strength in their own way, whether through loyalty, forgiveness, or the willingness to change. A lasting legacy. Princess Charlotte grew up knowing the meaning of protection and love, surrounded by those who put her safety above all else. Elias Rock's actions that day became part of the family's story, a reminder that heroes can come in many forms, and Prince William's firm decision set a standard that would guide the royal household for years to come, showing that no one is above responsibility, and that loyalty, when true, shines brightest in the darkest moments. Thank you for joining this journey. This story celebrates resilience, honor, and the unbreakable bonds of loyalty. It reminds us all that courage is not the absence of fear, but the strength to face it head-on. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts and inspire others with the power of kindness and perseverance.